Welcome to the Firefighters Podcast. We're live here from 360 MMA in Loughborough, and we have John Gregory with us. John, how are you today?
Very well, thank you, Rich.
John, you've just done a bit of mixed martial arts training today in the centre. How was that?
Tough, I've just been beat up.
He looked good though, didn't he? He looked
really good.
good.
Did look good.
He moves well.
It's a different type of training though, isn't it?
Very different, yeah, it's very technical.
When we was training, you did a boxing match. How did that compare to the training that you've just done? Is it similar or?
No, that's a lot tougher. That's a lot more hands-on. Yeah, that's a lot more intense.
Because you did one of those white-collar charity ones, didn't you?
Yeah. So I did the 8 weeks training. But like I think I said to you in the match, I pretty much hid behind my jab, and that was my 3 rounds.
Well, for anybody that doesn't know, you've got really long limbs, so that sort of stuff. Because you're a real strategist as well. You've done lots of sports throughout your time. So you kind of that natural athlete. You can apply yourself to most things. After 5 or 10 minutes, you can have like an okay skill level. Do you think that?
Yeah, I like I say, played a range of sports, and I like to try a little bit of everything. Once or twice, or yeah, it's.
Where did the passion start? What was the first sort of stuff you did as a kid?
Multi-sports, literally. I think my dad tried to push me into everything. I played tennis, golf, football, badminton. Yeah, you name it. I tried my hand at everything.
What did your mum and dad play any particular sports?
Mum was judo, funny enough.
Judo? Oh.
Yeah. How long did she do that for?
She did it a few years. She got a few belts, but I'm not sure.
I love judo. Judo's a dying sport, but I do love it.
Football's been my main passion. My dad was always pushing me into football.
Your dad played football, or your dad just pushed you into football?
He played football, yeah. Same as me, sort of only local league levels. But,
nice.
Played for many years.
So we know you now as a firefighter. How long have you been a firefighter now?
Since 2012, coming on 8 years.
8 years. Now, I haven't really known you personally as a firefighter, but you've actually done some travels as well. I really envy the time that you spent. So you spent some time down in London, and you spent time living in different areas, didn't you? Because fire service wasn't necessarily your first passion. No. So I was raised in Hertfordshire, but then I was keen to spend a few years working in London, just getting into the big smoke. So yeah, it was in London where I finally got into the fire service in Leicester. I was living in Wimbledon at the time, and either side of living in London, I travelled the world twice. So, Jesus, because Rich, you've done a lot of travelling as well, haven't you? I feel like I'm the baby in the group here because you've been out and about as well.
I've done a little bit of travelling. I won't say I've travelled the world or anything. I've been to the Canary Islands. No, I've been South Africa. I've been America. I've been a few places, but not necessarily travelled. When you say travelled, you literally travelled the world. Yeah,
both times about 6 months, and you just got one of those round the world flights, basically, so multiple stop-offs.
Jesus.
Was it a matter of just sightseeing, or was you training along the way? What was you doing? You doing
really
HAIX or anything like that?
We did all that. We did mountains, and we did training-wise. Yeah, tried a few different bits. Played my favourite was taco ball with the Indonesians.
What's that?
So it's basically like a battened wooden football. So hurts your feet, but it's head tennis. So you're chipping the ball over the net, heading it back or kicking it back.
A wooden ball?
A wooden ball. Yeah, with bare feet as well, bare feet. So yeah.
And that's the sort of training that refines some amazing motor skills, isn't it? Yeah. I think about the, and you'll probably know better than me, John, sort of Brazil, I think I'm going to say Brazilian football team or something like that. What's the original sport that they play? There was a coach from the UK that went over to Brazil in the favela and spent a few months training with all the kids, and they play a type of football. I'm sure our listeners will be rolling their eyes as I get all these facts wrong, but they play it with a much smaller ball on a much smaller pitch, and I forget the name of it. Say again?
Futsal.
There you go. Yeah, boom. I knew you'd know what it was. And they were saying this was the secret to the speed and sort of strategic play of some of the players that come out of those areas. Because even from a mathematical standpoint, the number of touches that someone gets on the ball in a game like that, and the time that they have to react and make their move, if you will, play the ball on, is so much smaller. Whereas in the UK, we learn on enormous pitches in comparison to theirs. We touch the ball, I don't know what the number is, but I'm sure a tenth of the amount of times that they do. And it's that contact, you know what I mean? They're getting that movement pattern embedded a lot more than we are. And I think it was a great analogy, because when I hear people playing sports like what you went to look out there, things like that are a great way to really refine a skill. You see some footballers doing kick-ups with golf balls and stuff like that, and it just forces them to get a lot more acutely sensitive to that sort of touch. So you know about futsal.
Do you know what's their mantra? What they say?
I don't know.
They say, make the ball happy.
Really? That's so beautiful, isn't it? You know, we call it the
beautiful football, but it is the beautiful
game, baby.
Brazil
Beautiful game. Yeah. It's amazing to see that, even though they do that with such little resources. I constantly say to people, it's not your resources, it's your resourcefulness. Because in a place like that, in the favela, where they've not got beautiful, grass-based pitches or astroturf or beautifully mowed lawns and stuff like that. They're in like whatever it is, a 5 meter by 10 meter patch of dirt in between all the little shanty houses or whatever. But they can bring that energy and enthusiasm and resourcefulness together. And I think some of their talent's almost born out of necessity, because it's an easy way for them to get rid of that passion without going into some of the harsher things that happen in those areas of the world.
Yeah, it's their escape.
Yeah, it's their escape. But you know what? I imagine when we talk about escape, Rich has said some great things before about some fighters and their escape. I think sport and fitness in general is that. You use the word escape, John. I think it's a great way for people to escape either from a dangerous place. We've had a guest on the show recently that spoke about that was part of their ability to escape from the situation they had at home. But you see that a lot in fighters, don't you, mate?
I do. A lot of sport is also it's a person's religion, isn't it?
Yes.
Isn't it? I always call this place my church.
So true, though, isn't it?
It is true, yeah, but it is a way of escaping, isn't it? You find yourself in a sport that you really enjoy. It's a way of just getting away from the outside world, isn't it? Just living life. Because
the mental and the physical energy have a huge crossover, and I find whenever you do something physically, it gives you endorphins, oxytocin, serotonin, and all those good healthy chemicals that can be harder, not impossible, but can be harder to manifest mentally if some people don't inject something physically. I don't mean inject as in the physical fact of injecting, but if you create that energy physically, it can cross over mentally. Whereas if you've got great mental control, a Zen Buddha can perhaps get away with not doing anything physical and still reach that state. Whereas we know one of the easiest ways to tap into it is a hard-ass 30-minute, 40-minute workout, and you're there. You've reached that area of enlightenment when you're in the church, as Rich says. So you joined the Fire Service. How many years have you been in now? You said 22.
8 years.
8 years.
Up, yeah.
So what were you doing? You said you joined when you were down in London. What were you doing when you were down in London? You obviously weren't in the Fire Service then.
No. I've been trying to get into the Fire Service for about 5 years at that point, or 4 years when I was in London.
So since 2007. How old were you then? When was your first time?
I first wanted to get in when I was about 17, 18.
Yeah, so it was one of the things out of school you wanted to do.
Yeah. I failed the application the first attempt, and while that was all going on, I was going to university. Went and did sports science.
Where did you study?
At Nottingham Trent. Stone's throw from here really. Clifton campus, really not that far at all. And again, the whole time I was at university, I was still thinking I want to join the Fire Service.
Yeah.
I enjoyed sport. I enjoyed physiotherapy at the time, which was kind of my thing. And then I ended up going into personal training. And all of this was just self-development while I filled the gap between getting into the Fire Service.
So you weren't one of those that was just I'll take the gap year, I'll just go and drinking, because you've always been quite committed and disciplined. Even when somebody doesn't think John's doing anything, I guarantee you there's a hurricane going on behind the scenes. There's always a project in the works. So you trained as a PT then? Yeah,
I trained as PT, and it was my way of getting to London. So I decided I wanted to work and live in a big city by myself a few years, get away. London was this melting pot, absolutely fantastic place of young, vibrant people.
Yeah.
And it was just the best place to be. So trained up, used my university degree, got a personal training ticket, and went down. And
I love the analogy you use of a melting pot. Is it because so many people from around the UK and around the world, we say the UK, we're not the centre of the universe at all pour into that one sort of nucleus. And there's lots of obviously great countries out there, but certainly from a UK perspective, the talents, the skills, and money. Money gets poured into London, and you wanted to go down there to not tap into the money, but to tap
into all sorts. I think, like you say, I feel like some of the best people from all the villages, all the towns, all the cities around the UK sort of converge into London. That's how it felt.
Yeah.
So you're surrounded by some of the best people. Yeah.
Did you experience that when you were there then? Did it sort of match up to your hopes for it?
Yeah, mixes. You've got all this, like you say, wealth. You had some of the wealthiest people I've ever met, and some of the talented people I've met.
Do you miss London?
I miss London. I miss London, the city. I don't miss living there. It's too
busy,
too fast.
Yeah,
it was too much. So it was. I think from a mental point of view, you need to put the brakes on sometimes. You need to slow down. And London is not that. London is flat out, fast tempo,
Non-stop, yeah.
every day. There's no rest. It's just go, go, go. And it's if you're not working, you're socialising. If you're not socialising, you're playing sport. And it's just
Yeah.
But I remember you telling me the story of when you first got down there, because we've spoke about it before, about not just talk about things, get shit done, get out there and take action. Because you went down there, you didn't spend the first few weeks bimbling around, looking for a fight, looking for this, looking for that. You were knocking down doors. You were hitting local. Tell us the story when you first got there.
Yeah. So to actually get to London itself, to get the job, I literally went to every single gym in London, in the city, within those few miles. And knocked on every door, every gym, and I made it a personal mission that I would shake the hand of every single sports manager until I got that job.
And there's a lot to be said for that.
It took me 1 week. 1 week, but every single day I was down there, trained down.
And again, we come back to resources and resourcefulness, because some people are going, if I said to you, have you contacted anyone? Yeah, I've got, right. What is the definition of your version of contacting somebody? Did you send them an email? Yeah. Did you ring them? Did you send them a message on Instagram? Did you message them on Facebook? Did you send them a voice clip? Yeah. Did you go down and physically post a letter? Did you go down and physically meet them? There's all these levels, but some people, and certainly I'm not going to vilify the younger generation, but I do see it with the younger generation. They go, yeah, I contacted them. What does that even mean? What does that mean to you? Because it means very, very different things. Whereas you're the sort of person, I love how you say it, I made it a purpose to shake their hand.
It's where people expect things, doesn't it? And you went out and got it. Now, speaking of going out and getting things, we're all firefighters. We was all looking forward to the British Firefighter Challenge this year.
Yes.
Unfortunately, due to lockdown,
John's dropped the ball.
But John, you are the founder. You are the one who made it happen. How did that all come about? What made you want to launch that?
Well, there's five of us in the team now. The team's growing. 7. Including the Cheshire Challenge lads as well.
And lasses. There's a couple of great girls in the team as well, aren't there?
Yeah. In terms of competing and that, definitely. But from the organising side of things, it started in 2013 in a way. Basically, I went to my first ever competition. So I was actually at training school for fire service. I was at Morton in Marsh. I was at the college, the
Fire Service College.
I was there, and I wanted to combine fire fitness as a crossover. I love fitness. I love the fire service, and I found this event online. It was the World Police and Fire Games, and it was taking place in Belfast in 2013.
Yeah.
And previously, it's been in Sydney. It's been all over the world, Los Angeles. So it was on a doorstep. So I went over there, took part, and I met melting pot of people. I met some fantastic people, of which three of the people there ended up being a part of what is now the British Firefighter.
You say you were still in training school when you were doing this?
Yeah.
I love that, mate. I love that. Because I speak to people and they talk about some ambitions and dreams, and nobody's better than anybody else. We'll have a different approach. I appreciate that. But they talk about, I'm just gonna get settled. I'm just gonna X. I'm just gonna wait for what? What are you waiting for? Yeah. Don't apologise for things that you aspire to. Let the rest of the world tell you it's not possible. Let the rest of the world tell you it's not feasible, it's not sustainable, it's not realistic. Don't start preaching that stuff to yourself. Christ, because I'm sure if we spoke to a lot of recruits these days and said, oh, hey, you've been in 3 weeks, John, while I was down at the college, why don't you start looking at building your own brand, your own big championship based around the fire service? They'll be like, oh, I've only been in a month, I've only been in this. Maybe when I've got 10 years under my belt. That's not their thoughts. That is some old hand, let's call it. That's somebody with generations of experience, which again, we'll talk about that word at some point, in the fire service, telling them, stay in your place. Yeah. No, do your time. Yeah. Wait your turn. Just because more often than not, they also had an aspiration when they first joined and they allowed themselves to get talked out of it. Now they feel it's their obligation to talk you out of it. Yeah. Don't go and do your big dreams, John, because you might make me feel bad. Yeah, and I'm sure there's a number of people out there. You're a very smart guy, John, but you're not the smartest guy in the world. Not 3 of us are. And I'm confident someone else has thought of...
Hold on a minute, Pete.
I'm confident someone else has thought of doing something just like what you've done. Yeah, long before John did. Yeah, they all thought about it. But you took action, and that was the big difference. You went out to Belfast, you asked the questions, you shook the hands. So tell us about when the first time you were out there.
Belfast was fantastic, absolute brilliant city. And yeah, it was... I love my fitness. Training school was one level. Yeah. I wanted to see what the next level was.
Yeah, I always like that.
Yeah, and it was just that curiosity. And when I got out there, I was blown away. I thought I was fit.
Yeah.
But I mean, you've met some of the guys out in Germany. And, and Poland. They are
Love them.
Unbelievable. The different levels that you've got. And like you say, you can be mediocre, you can be happy with your fitness, and you think you can just about get the job done.
Big fish, small pond.
My first one was last year in Watford, and that was a massive eye opener for me.
I remember
Because I'm
down the track next to you.
I'm fairly fit anyway, but I didn't realise how hard everyone was training for this event. I just turned up and thought I'd mod way through it. This was a bit gutted this year with lockdown. It's all been obviously it's over for the time being. So I was training like a beast for this one. I was. Since I knew what was going on, I thought I'm going back and I'm going to have it.
You absolutely totally raised your game.
But John,
when
what was the year it launched? When did you do your first event?
So British Firefighter started in 2016. So like I say, I met 2 guys or 3 guys at the time from Hertfordshire.
Let's shout them out. Who we got?
So we've got Rob Budge and Michael Joseph, who are
Love the Budge brothers. Because there's Rob and there's David on it there. Man, now they're some epic boys.
We met Gibraltar lads as well.
Yes.
Julian McGrail's over there, which led on to us meeting Matt Coulthard as well. So
Matt's great.
We know Matt as a
beautiful family. If anybody sees him on Instagram.
And so Rob and Michael Joseph, they're on the team for British Firefighter Challenge, and it was there that we spoke about other Firefighter Challenge events. And in 2014, we went to Germany. We went to Claudia's toughest firefighter alive.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah. So again, there's a whole story behind that as well. And so we went over there. We met Kev Ruan.
I think that's my favourite comp. That is.
It was. Yeah.
Love that one.
And you'd have to come over one.
I will do.
It's the 4 stages of it.
It's the British Firefighter Challenge times 4.
Yeah, it's
like
it's BFC on cocaine.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I was so impressed
with BA
with
sets and
Watford.
bigger kit.
I was loving it. It was a massive eye opener for me.
The climbing wall was what I love most about the different challenges on that, and also we're too far into it. The time gaps between it, because it's not just go as hard as you can. Okay, we're finished. You've got that specific gap between your next phase of that run starting, and it's just awesome. Yeah, there's some beasts turn out for that. I absolutely love it.
So gents, I have no idea what you're on about. most of our listeners won't. I was just explain to me what is this event? What's involved with the event?
So we took sections of kind of all these firefighter challenges across the world. You've got the Firefighter Combat Challenge, which is one of the most popular ones. It's been taking place in America for 25 something years.
That's with charged lines as well, isn't it? And under air as well. It's
based around a professor over there basically created a fitness test, a fireground fitness test, which compiled of stairs, carrying equipment up the stairs, hauling equipment, dragging equipment, striking a sledgehammer, carrying a person, all those elements which you would associate and dragging hose with a fire service incident.
Yeah,
and it was
a high rise, wasn't it? So it's designed. My understanding of it is 2 or 3 floors. What series of actions would you have to undertake upon arriving at this incident? So donning breathing apparatus, finding the location of the fire, so climbing to the floor, carrying the equipment. Potentially the property you come to is locked, so you've got your forcible entry. So that's the point. It. And then, like John said, they're using a charged line, and perhaps you've not been able to carry all your equipment up. You may need to haul some equipment up. So that's where the hauling side of it comes in. And it's that beautiful blend of so many. But when you did the BFC, you sort of built your own as well, didn't you? You took those elements that you enjoyed most of it.
Like I say, that's just one competition. So the Firefighter Combat Challenge out in America has now gone global. It's been out in Europe for over 10 years. And then there's the Toughest Firefighter.
Toughest Firefighter Alive. I love the name of it.
It's not one event, it's 4 different sections. So they've almost split that Firefighter Combat Challenge up into 4 elements.
Yeah.
Which is your hose dragging, it's your hose makeup, then you go on to the
these are all timed events, aren't they? You're against somebody.
Again, like for the fitness challenge, it's kind of there's a level that you need to meet. There's a requirement that you need to meet, a time which you must be under to claim yourself to be fit. That's what Firefighter Combat Challenge was born out of in America. It was stations basically becoming rivalry with other stations saying, we can beat you, we can get our times faster than you. And suddenly a sport was born. And then it obviously jumped the pond over to Europe. And before you know it, different competitions began. And that's where our British one came out of, basically. So all these competitions that we loved, and we travelled, we went around Europe for a couple of years, and then we decided on our own format.
And how does it work in regards to like divisions? So does it go on age? Does it go on? I'm thinking fighting. So weight. How does it work?
The wonderful thing about the British Firefighter Challenge is that don't finish, you don't retire at 30, 40, 35, 40 like many team sports. You can compete up to the age of retirement and beyond. So we break it down because of the popularity now. It's in every 5-year sections. So from 18 to 25, from 25, 30, 30, 35, all the way up to retirement at 60. And we still have people competing because of their fitness. 64, 65 years
old. Which is so inspiring when we saw last year. How old was the oldest gentleman?
He was 64, turning
64.
Yeah.
Wow.
Unbelievable from Suffolk.
And people that haven't seen the videos, go onto the BFC page. I'm sure some of them are out there. These individuals are so inspiring. They're still doing the same thing. Still putting on all the fire kit, still doing the run. And the biggest thing I love about your competitions is the community around them. So whenever you go to like a regional competition for fitness in general or athletics or something like that, there's still a lot of rivalry and everybody sort of knows each other. But in the fire service, it's a real family feel. You know, it will sound unreal to people listening, but the sort of thing where you can leave your kit anywhere, you know, you don't worry about, you know, your possessions and where all your things are gone because you're in such a trusted community, and everywhere you turn, there's a different person that has the same why for being there, if that makes sense. They've got that same sort of moral compass because you know they're part of a family that comes from the wider fire service family, as we refer to it. And that for me is just so special. And the treatment that we've had when we've gone abroad, come to Germany, and we've stayed in people's homes with them and you know, broken bread, and it's been so unique for me coming from competing in strongman and other strength disciplines where it's a little bit, you know, rough and nasty sometimes. I'm sure Rich has had some experiences traveling with fighting. I'm sure there's plenty of good ones, but the fighting can be a real cutthroat sport sometimes.
Yeah, it's not the best, is it? We've been some nasty places.
I'll bet.
Nasty places. But I've put on some events myself, John. I've done a lot of fight promotions and stuff like that, and I know how hard it is from day one of planning to get to the actual event itself. So it's been going, do you say 4 years now?
Yeah, since 2016 was the first.
So from
events, this would have been the 5th year. Yeah.
So from the day of you having the idea to where we are now, explain the journey for us, your highs, your lows, what's been involved, what's been the hardest part of getting this event into real life, I suppose.
Tough question, I suppose. So in 2016, in its inaugural year, that was myself and Kev Ran who sort of took the lead on it, and like I say, then there was Chris Trendowich, who's also from Nottingham. So that was their kind of baby, really. That was the Nottinghamshire. That was the first one, and that was on their patch. So that was kind of a stepping stone, but it was all on a university campus.
Yeah.
So because it was private land, there weren't really many obstacles. Then we've gone on and grown. So 2017 was my patch. That was Leicester. So that was one that I kind of really started to kind of come to the front a little bit and really kind of take the lead in a sense that I had the passion. I wanted to make sure that it ran without a hitch because reputation in Leicester was on the line a little bit, you know.
Was that in the city centre as well? That one
within the square mile. So that was still university land. That was on the Montfort University, right where the magazine. So a little bit of heritage. Yeah, it was a beautiful site.
Really was beautiful. Yeah.
However, it went round the building still, so we still didn't have that kind of rectangle space format like they do in Europe and in America. And we wanted to grow the competition, grow the competitors, grow the spectator numbers to a point where we could put it into a city centre.
Yeah.
We took it to Bury St Edmunds in 2018, and that's where it started to grow. That was still a car park at that point.
That was my... That was the first one I came to, yeah.
So that was a car park next to their main shopping centre, still within the town centre, so loads more spectators, really, really hot sunny day.
I love the residential you organised for that as well. As a small side note, we stayed at a scouting or Cub Scout escape, but it's like a nature reserve, wasn't it?
But yeah.
Loads of bunk beds or something, was it? Like
it was beautiful. It was so beautiful. It had big army canvas tents, and there was a couple of old wooden sort of sleeping dorm shacks, but like the place was just full of beautiful trees that were, you know, the size of cars in terms of their breadth, and it was like something out of Jurassic Park, wasn't it? Yeah. Honestly, it was such a beautiful site, massive big campfire areas. Mate, that for me, I was hooked.
So did a lot of people stay? Did a lot of people stay who was competing? Then was it?
Yeah.
Internationally as well. I mean, you facilitate a lot of competitors that come from abroad as well.
Yeah, we've almost had to step away and let people do that themselves now. But initially, we've had such good treatment when we've gone to Germany and Poland. where they've housed us, they've put us up in their own hotels or B&Bs, and they've fed us, and they've really treated us so well that we always try to keep the competition about, again, embracing that and trying to put people into accommodation. So in Leicester, we had the university buildings, and I had chats with them, and they gratefully were able to put up a load of rooms that could house these international competitors. And then we had the campsite in Bury St Edmunds, because it's a smaller area. But by Watford last year, city centre, that was the toughest by far, because it's a city centre. So we had our tower for the first time. Previously, we'd used either scaffolding firms, but we managed to get a contract with a steel fabrication firm, and we now own our own steel tower. And to get that erected in the city centre within a short time frame,
it's impressive, isn't it?
It was bonkers. But because it was city centre, we just had, because of the complexities, the whole competition, we just had to say to everyone, come in, can you book your own accommodation?
Yeah,
that's one step too far for us to organise. So
it's either that or the whole group has to level up and grow effectively, because none of you guys, for anybody that doesn't know, this is a complete charity. There's no profit made from anybody. John doesn't get paid to run the British Firefighter Challenge, nor do any of the team members. So again, uniquely from other types of competitions, this is done purely from the good of your heart, if you will, and your desire to compete and create a wonderful environment and competition for people to demonstrate their abilities in, which I think is really unique in this day and age when a lot of people can be drawn by the almighty dollar, if you know what I mean. And you do raise a lot of money as well.
Yeah, so we raise money for the Firefighters charity, and every year we're supported by the fire service itself. So, like I say, Watford last year was supported by Hertfordshire Fire and Rescue Service, and the guys down there that are on the team, so we've got Rob Budge and Michael Joseph, they obviously were supported very well by their service and gave them time to help with the organising from their end. So they did a hell of a lot of work down there that year.
I remember injuries when I think of Mickey, bless him. Mickey's had some serious injuries.
He keeps coming back.
I'm sure at some point in time we'll get the whole team on the podcast.
Are these injuries through competing, or are these injuries through
I think
training?
It's more training, really, because you push yourself more in training.
It really does, yeah.
Than any event. And to be fair to these events, it's not injury based. It's not contact sport. It's all about technique and speed. And if you're training for it, then you're not going to get hurt. So it's more the training side of it. You push yourself through to the limits.
It's
and
slips, trips and falls, isn't it?
Yeah.
Often is, and that's generic for many.
I needed a bit of oxygen therapy at the end.
I remember seeing you, bless you. It was,
I went great.
Good to see.
I loved it, absolutely loved it. What I loved about Watford was, we've just mentioned it earlier, is seeing all the firefighters from all over the world. I wasn't expecting that. So when I turned up, it was a real pleasant surprise. I was seeing firefighters from America. I was against a guy from Malta. Yeah. Obviously, there was Germany. There was from all over the world. I mean, has it been like that from day one, or is it getting more and more?
There's definitely
popular?
more. I mean, let's look at the first year in Nottingham. It took us a year to get 70 people entered competing. This year, it was under 4 weeks to get 250. So it's just the popularity has absolutely boomed. And the first year, we had a great amount of support from Germany, from Portugal. We had a guy come over from Dubai, and that was due to the competition. It was due to the friendships that Peter said about earlier.
Absolutely.
So we've attended these events in, like I say, all over Europe. Some guys have gone to America, to the Worlds.
You've invested time in those connections with those people. These aren't arbitrary emails that people are sending out. Go, oh, we're running our thing, come over and give us some money and enter into your competition. These are relationships you've invested in, time you spent with them. And like Rich was saying, the families of people that come to these events, you meet their wife, their husband, their children, and you start to...
Well, a lot are turning them into holidays, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're coming over to compete, but they're turning it into family holidays.
Yeah.
And that's why it's brilliant, because the British Firefighter Challenge is unique. We move it every year. So a fire service from the UK somewhere will host the event, which means every year we can change the cities, change the location, which means people coming over and travelling from even inside the UK, but outside the UK coming in, means they can change cities every year.
So moving forward, have we got any provisional dates? Have we got anything to announce?
Just so Rich can get in shape, ready for... stay in shape for it.
We've had the green light back for Hull. So Hull are...
so Hull's the next location?
They are, so they would have been this year.
Yeah.
And
get your hotels booked, everybody.
Thankfully, they are, so it's I believe it's the 24th, 25th of July next year.
Always around my
Saturday and
birthday.
Sunday. Yeah,
When's
it's always the last
the,
weekend of July. Anyway.
When's entries opening? When can we register?
So everyone that was already registered to compete this year, the event has been postponed. Your entry will still.
And again, it seems like a small action, but I believe that that's just another true demonstration of the morals behind it. Do you know what I mean? It's not, as I say again, I'll say it again, it's not a big for-profit thing. It's not about, a BFC promotion. It's not the John Gregory show. It's about giving everybody the opportunity to do it. And if they've put their time and they've put their commitment into getting themselves in shape for it, you would never, nor would any of the team, Mickey, the Budgies, everything like that, deny anybody the ability to get out there and have their day. Whether they are or are not the fastest out there. Yeah, okay, there's some of us that want to get in there and it's all about the winning. But for a lot of people, it's about being able to push themselves. It's them versus them. They had one time one year, they want to get 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds faster the next year. They didn't manage to make it up the stairs. Like Rich, they may have collapsed halfway
Hold
down.
on a minute. I'll just speak. I think I need to be about a minute faster, but we don't need to bring that up.
We hadn't completely closed the whole incident down by the time you finished that. I mean, there was some people still hanging around. I mean, council workers and,
I was giving some work to the paramedics.
Street sweepers were there. And no, but you know what, John? As much as we've spoken about members of the fire service and even internationally coming and competing, what I've really enjoyed as I sort of got more and more involved with yourself and the team was people that reached out to you from outside of the sport. So it's really, and I'm going to call it a sport because Firefighter Challenges has developed itself to become identified as a way for anybody really to test their fitness. And whilst the competitions are specifically driven towards members of the fire service, we've had a couple of really unique opportunities created entirely by yourself and the team to go against some other members of the sporting world. So, tell us about a few of those.
Which ones?
So we had the swimming team came down to one of our local stations, and Leicester City Football Club also came and joined us, didn't they? How did these things even come about?
I'm sure you were there for the Tigers one, weren't
you? Yeah.
So we had the rugby team. So it's a lot of sports teams in Leicestershire. This is sort of the way we've pitched it recently. Have been interested in taking a team building day, yet fitness orientated, and fire service has always been a team building kind of atmosphere. That's what we're all about. It's all about teamwork to get the incident.
I love the
resolved,
fact when you say about team building, it's taking them out of that environment, because Rich said it himself when we spoke about this not too long ago, that you may have your particular golden player, you may have that person that is their skill set applies them to a certain sport, and because of that they've emerged as the stronger member of the team. But something like the Firefighter Challenge takes them you're changing so many metrics. They're lifting implements they've never touched. They're wearing fire kit. For anybody that's never worn fire kit, the sheer experience of suffocating the body in that way.
You're taking them out of their comfort zone, aren't
Absolutely,
you?
yeah.
So with these sports teams that have come down, are they doing the exact same circuit that we would?
We've put them through the British Firefighter Challenge as well. We've timed Adam PTs, Manny Tuolagi.
They did try, bless them.
So for those who are thinking of maybe doing it for the first time, obviously there's some great videos out there, but just explain to us what the course is from start to finish.
So the course is 3 floors, 6 flights, if you will, of a tower. So you run with your firefighting equipment, so your personal protective equipment, your fire tunic, your leggings, your boots, helmet, and a breathing apparatus set on your back. So all in all, you're looking at about 20, 30 kilos of kit to start with, right, on top of your body weight. You run to the top of the tower, you haul aloft a 15-kilo pack to the top, which is a roll of hose. You run back down to the bottom and use a sledgehammer to strike a metal beam, and that replicates like a door entry. So to some people, it might only take 4 or 5 hits to knock that door in. To others, it might be 20 hits. Okay. Once you finish that, you pick up a length of hose and you drag that 50 meters. You run back. You've got a hose makeup to do. So you make a roll of hose. If you've ever seen people in the fire service, obviously doing that at the end of an incident. You've got some equipment to carry. You've got 20-kilo containers that you've got to carry. You've got 4 of those. So
and when we talk about kilos, just for people's, so 15-kilo hose pack, haul off, for example, that's over 2.5 stone.
2.5 stone, yeah.
Think about most small family dogs are about 15, 16 kilos, something like that. Hauling that up 3 floors out of, not that we're suggesting people do it, but out of your window, arm over arm, trying to get them up 3 floors. That, I find, is one of the things where you see people come to pieces quite early on in the event, is trying to do that haul, because it's brutal.
Just getting to the top of the stairs, you'll be amazed, just running 3 floors with 30 kilos of kit on you, and like you say, it's that confined feeling of having that kit on you. That
it's very different when people are running around a gym in their shorts and t-shirt.
Exactly.
Very, very fit people, fantastic. But you're putting multiple stressors on your body. But yeah, take us back. So you got the barrels or the
and then you complete the equipment carry and you finish with my favourite, which is the Casualty Drag.
Yes.
So 70 kilo roof lead dummy is what we use at the moment. The ones in
which is again about 11 stone.
Yeah, you can get some of the ones out in America and Europe. They're like 85.
I remember getting to that Casualty Drag.
Yeah.
After all that, and I thought I was going to die.
I
didn't know what was going on. I'll tell you what I thought was the hardest for myself, which was strange, was the hose makeup.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
That's where a lot of people pick up time.
But just I don't know. I just couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
Just bent over with my BA set on.
It's exactly that.
I just couldn't get the air in.
Because you go end over end. You've been standing upright, breathe. Then you go to bend over at 90 degrees. Your BA set slips up your back a little bit behind you. And you just suffocate, and your helmet often falls down over your head.
For an outsider
John's got a great story about his helmet falling over his head. I'm sure he'll tell us in a minute.
For an outsider looking in, the hose makeup probably does look the easiest part of the course. Yeah. I believe that's one of the hardest parts of the course.
And for
when
any
you're blowing out your
recruits,
arse and then you're going down and then...
For any new recruits that see people roll the hose up as well, I'm sure, and any instructors out there, they'll roll their eyes. But we're looking at speed here. You know, it's got to fit in a box at the end. This is not going to be the perfect hose roll. It's all about speed. And when you see somebody, some of the real high level pros roll them at speed, it is unbelievable how quickly that gets.
Well, I thought as well, who makes the events, the compare, I think he does a fantastic job. I'm guessing, is it a different person every year, or you always use the same compare? Or
well, what I love So last year in Watford was that it was Kev Ruan. So we're going back now to the opening event in Nottingham.
Yeah.
Kev Ruan was one of the lead figures. He initially was one of the key figures in forming Team Great Britain. So when we started going over to Europe, he was the veteran, if you like, of these competitions. He'd been out to World Police and Fire out in Sydney. He'd been to LA since he was younger and competing in sport. And then there was no Team Great Britain, it was just individuals. And he had seen a few of us at these events and basically got us all together.
Yeah.
He showed us how the events run. He showed us the technique. He showed us how we should be thinking about training. And that's how we formed Team Great Britain. And what I loved is that when we first said, why have we not got anything like this in the United Kingdom? He was basically the lead figure. Him, like I say, Kev. There was Chris Trendowich, also from Nottingham. There was Mark Joseph, Rob Budgett and myself, and us five were the originals that brought it to Nottingham, and then the event is what it is.
And that is history, as they say.
Kev Ruan was commentating all day, every day for that weekend. And
he wouldn't let go of it either, because we went over that
passion.
Dude, do you want an hour? Do you want half an hour? Just
it's hard stuff to keep your energy for that amount of time, for that many people. That's a hard job.
You can see his enthusiasm in it, and he loved that sport, and he's always loved the sport. And for him to have helped grow the event from what it was, he stepped away slightly now, but it was lovely for him to return and deliver that. And also he's fluent in German.
Yes.
So he was there commentating in English. He was commentating for the German guys, and
which for those competitors really takes it to another level, makes them feel so welcome and appreciated. Because as
make them feel at ease as well, won't it?
As a society, we can be a bit ignorant, can't we? We expect the rest of the world to come over here and speak English. So when we've got members of our communities that have really gone above and beyond to embrace other cultures and their languages, really adds a massive amount of prestige to an event like that.
You're talking about some of the guys that were competing are the best in Germany.
Yeah.
So our event is now streamed live to thousands of people at home.
I love that.
If they can't make it to our events, and many of the friends and family do, but if he can commentate in German, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
They're listening at home, and you've got all the people that maybe haven't ever watched the event, but if it is getting commentated in English or in German, do you know what I mean? They're understanding what it's all about.
Let's pick your brains a little bit now. So we spoke about the event. Anyone who's thinking of competing for the first time, how do they need to train? How many weeks out do they need to start training? What do they need to do to give them the best opportunity to obviously get a good time?
I think first and foremost, get used to the kit. So get used to wearing and training in fire kit. Get used to that BA set and the weight being on you, because that obviously does drain your legs. And then it's a little bit like yourself with MMA. You need to get used to those 3-minute bursts of energy. So it's not just a 20-second hit, it's 3 minutes of intense exercise, and you need to get used to training in bouts of 2-3 minute stints, basically.
literally expelling all your energy, everything you've got for 3 minutes, and then I suppose it's about recovery time as well when it's in training, isn't it?
So I do a lot of stair running. I find stair running fantastic. 2-3 minutes of stair running all out of fire kit. Shorter stints as well, so doing sprints, so breaking it down. But then you can break the entire competition up. So you can do stair running, you can do hose running, so sprints with weights, like if you've got a weighted sled.
That's where I found my best bits, is the power moves.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The hauls and the forcible entry machines, things like that are where if you come from an athletic background where you've done perhaps a lot of cardio, a lot of track, you will lend yourself more to the stair running and like elements of that. But there's very few parts of the course where you're not carrying an implement of some form. You're not pulling something or striking something. So as John rightly said, avoid doing stuff in your shorts and t-shirt if possible. I mean, don't necessarily have to run around in your boots all the time, because they can be very uncomfortable and you might hurt yourself. So, but where you train is, and I always try and wear my fire kit as much as possible when I'm training, because it just applies that stress to your body constantly. It's a whole different level of it. I mean, we spoke briefly about bringing other members of the sport in, and I really enjoyed it when we had the Leicester team and the swimming team, because arguably they're far fitter than we are, really. I mean, they train a lot more, they do it as a full-time job, but seeing some of them just absolutely come to pieces trying to do the event. I mean, who did you enjoy most out of all the people that came and joined us at the fire station that we did it at?
I think Adam Peaty's done it twice. So I've seen him literally on his back trying to break his record, you know. And he treated it just like a swim. He was trying to get his world record. He was trying to get the fastest time. The whole group.
How did he do the second time? Which time did I do it with him?
You did it the one at Central. We had to do a shorter version at Loughborough, but the one at Central was the full kind of rig. Yeah. So that was unique. We even had the SAS Who Dares Wins.
I was going to say we had Mark Pert down, and that was fantastic to have, because everybody has probably remember or seen the firefighter that won SAS Who Dares Wins. Lovely guy. He's currently raising a lot of money, doing a lot of long distance running. If anybody wants to donate to his Just Giving page, he's doing some fantastic work there. But it was great to have him come down, because again, it's that inner desire to constantly you versus you to better himself. Came down and gave it a go. And again, even though he's a very experienced firefighter, it was again another whole different level of.
Has he done anything like that? Obviously, as a firefighter, but had he done anything like that before that?
Other than the kind of the SAS
it wasn't obvious if you had.
Stuff,
it wasn't obvious if you had it.
Did he struggle?
We spent a few hours training him, doing the drills, but it comes back. You used a good word earlier, experience.
Yeah.
And I can't stress enough how people, if you want to have a go at this, just have a go.
Mm-hmm.
Have a go. You need a base level of fitness, but you need to have a go to understand what the event's about.
Tell me about it. I know now, don't I?
Yeah, baby.
Last year.
And it's only once you've experienced it can you get better.
Exactly.
So I've seen some of the fittest guys, like you say, you Adam Peaty's, you Mark J. Pert. These guys are the fittest people I've ever met.
Yeah.
But the first time they do it, there's so much to learn. Their times aren't fantastic, and it will take them a few.
It's like you do need a game plan as well, don't you? I mean, we do this a lot in fighting. First time somebody fights, they think they're going to do this, and that. But until they've actually done it, they have no idea how their body's going to react. It's going to be an adrenaline dump to start with. They could be really, really fit, but they're going to that fight, they're absolutely knackered in about 30 seconds. I found with the British Firefighter Challenge as well, I think something I learned, obviously you are competing against somebody else, but I think it's about consistency throughout that 3-4 minutes. It's not about going as fast as you possibly can in the first 30-40 seconds and then having nothing left at the end. You want a decent pace, but keep it throughout.
I love most when you see the comparisons between you and I when we've trained, because we've got very different sporting backgrounds. Myself coming predominantly from strength for maybe the last 10-12 years. Before that, it was cross country and sprinting and stuff like that. But certainly in our most recent sporting adventures, your level of cardio and fitness is far higher in certain elements, whereas I brought that strength and striking element to being able to move and shift implements, because ours have been quite different. We've competed against each other a couple of times now over the years. What have been the areas that each time we've come away from it, you've thought, that's where I want to work, or that's where I want to sort of get that marginal gain?
In Watford, it struck me how fast you learn to get up the tower. I remember in 2018 that the disappointment of you weren't happy with your time. You wanted to you want to always be the best.
Always.
And and you can always see that fury inside you that you weren't happy and you walked away from that disappointed. He come back in Watford and he was second in Britain. I mean, you know what I mean? For a big lad, he shot up them stairs. And I genuinely, as I was chasing him, thinking, he's not going to be able to maintain that. He ain't going to maintain that.
No, but I kind of didn't. No, because I can't. Either you sped up or I slowed down. I think I slowed down.
You did, yeah.
Because my stairs was great. As again, we talk about strength, I was stronger on the hull. So if anybody sees the video, we'll post it on. My hull shoots up quicker than yours, but then you catch me up on the stairs. And then the Kaiser again, or the 4th century, sorry, we head into strength. I leap forward a little bit on strength. We drag hose, I leap forward on that. Then we start to run. You catch me up. We pick up the dummy, and you're creeping. You start creeping, because that cardio.
That is one of my favourite videos.
That's it, isn't it?
It's like, I needed another 10 metres, and that would have got interesting.
Yeah. We should rerun it and do some commentary on there as well.
We will. We'll do a voiceover for it. We'll get that one in. So, John, we're in lockdown at the moment. And there's a lot of people out there struggling. You've got an enormous wealth of fitness knowledge and nutrition, and I'm sure there's some golden nuggets you can dispense upon our listeners. Because I'm looking at you now, you're in pretty good shape. You know, if I was of a different disposition, I'm sure I'd fancy a little bit of Mr. Gregory. But how have you kept yourself? How have you kept yourself in shape? That's just the beard. That's all it is. Yeah. How have you kept yourself in shape? Because you've got a family as well.
Yeah. Talk about challenges. That's been my challenge this last year, definitely.
Yeah, we just spoke about you're going through sleep training at the minute, aren't you, with your daughter?
Yeah, for your daughter, not for you. You've slept okay for years.
Different type of training, yeah. So sleep training for her, sleep deprivation for me, yeah. To be honest, I've got a fair bit of kit inside my garage.
Yeah.
So I'm doing all right. But if anything, I'm getting outside the walls. I don't want to be in that garage. It's, for me, it's a big thing about physical health as it is mental health. But being confined in lockdown to your 4 walls when there's the great outdoors, and when you can still be 2 meters away from everybody.
Yes,
outings. There's so many hidden gems, So my favourite place at the moment near me, it's only 5-minute drive, is the quarry. So I park at Hunker, and the quarry down there, it's got stairs, it's got hills, and it's the open space, and you can be, like I say, miles away from anybody.
Is this where we went running once?
Yeah.
I remember that. That's a good, it's a good place, that is, especially for stair running.
Yeah.
We'll get out there. We'll get out there, do it again.
We met one week. I remember the following week I took all my team from here. We went.
Did you?
Did the exact same training. Yeah, it was a good team building exercise.
It was good.
Did you do some casualty carries?
We didn't do casualties. All we did, it was just purely stair running. We ran to the last stair set.
Yeah.
Did that 3 or 4 times. Come back to the middle one, and then obviously went home. And we actually ended up in the pub after, so that was a nice little treat.
So, John, you say you've got some kit at your house, and I know you've bought a couple of nice. You've got rowers and stuff like that. For people out there that perhaps haven't got 500 quid or whatever to bang on a rower, if they just had 30 quid, that they've saved up over the month, and they were just going to get one piece of kit for their home, because there's a lot you can do with bodyweight workouts. There's a hell of a lot, but some people might go, no, I want something that's going to push me, and not necessarily the latest Ab Blaster 7000, because you and I know the sort of equipment that's been out for 50, 60 years is some of the best stuff. So if you had to buy one piece of kit, 30, 40 pounds, low entry for a piece of kit, what would you go for?
Barbell.
One
barbell, because there is so many things, it's so adaptable.
Okay.
Look at kind of CrossFit training or any type, but with a barbell,
because you don't need a lot of weight either, do you? What weight would you pick for yourself? If one of your new clients coming in, if you just had a barbell to work out.
You can do a lot just with a barbell, can't you?
Without
any weight.
Just 20 kilos, but I mean, it depends.
So you're talking the
person,
Olympic barbells, are you?
Yes, right. Olympic barbell, which is 20 kilos. And I mean, anything up to 60 kilos will get most workouts done. Yeah. You don't need big weights, only if you're specifically going for strength training. But for most all-round workouts, a barbell with a couple of weights,
Yeah. Like you say, you really don't need much on the ends of them. I think things such as, a lot of kettlebell training.
Yeah.
Things like that as well. Very, very low entry. Because a barbell, a good Olympic barbell, anybody looking out there, you're looking at about £100 minimum to buy a good Olympic barbell. Now, you can go into your Argos's and other stores like that and get lower level entry barbells.
You'll be surprised how many people are selling barbells that haven't used them and they've just got dusty in their own. So
true. I've got about 5 and I've rented out a few of mine because people have, exactly as you said, they just want that barbell. They want to be able to connect with the steel. But I've found a real passion falling back in love with some kettlebells. I mean, you've done a little bit of kettlebell training in the past.
We do a lot of kettlebell training. Yeah, I really like it. It's very functional, but for our sport as well, I think it develops a lot of explosive power.
Yeah.
And it's very transportable as well, isn't it?
Yeah. it's a caveman style thing as well. You know, you think back the gladiators in Colosseums. These were the sort of implements, the mace, the kettlebell. These were things that they were using way back then. You know, we see all these beautiful shiny machines that get invented in gyms these days that allow somebody to isolate right down to that individual muscle group. Whereas some of the oldest things, the barbells, the maces, the kettlebells, really do build that full body fitness. You know, a real fundamental grounding. And I think once you've got a great grounding like that, you can plot yourself into a lot of sports. I see some people that have only ever trained in a gym and perhaps only ever done machine work. They can build a fairly impressive physique. But I mean, Rich, I'm sure you see a lot of examples of people in great shape that perhaps come into your gym but don't have, their core is weak. You know, they don't have a great foundation because perhaps they've only ever been in gyms.
Yeah, they're blown up, aren't they?
Yeah, there's a big inflated, nice superficial muscle.
They look good. They
really
look very
impressive.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do see it quite a lot.
But then when
again, it's the type of training, isn't it? It's the type of training.
And that's what it's about.
We've just done. It didn't need any equipment. We've just carried each other.
Yeah,
we dragged each other. We pulled each other.
And I love that. I love the carries we've done.
Yeah.
How much can you get out of that? Seriously, with somebody in front of you, just picking somebody up, walking up and down. I mean, we do it in fields as well. Run the length of a football pitch with that type of carry. It's
especially when you do it with a group as well, because you were saying, Rich, when you do it with some of your teams, it can be somebody different every week.
Yeah.
You know, when you're doing a barbell, you know, you can grow up incrementally, a couple of kilos each week. But the beauty of picking up a human being that hasn't got any handles on them, and the variability in their muscle density and how you're going to pick them up and how they're going to move.
Yeah. I mean, I love it when we do that in class. Obviously, it's about 30 of us, and it's that motivation as a team, all doing that and all running and shouting at each other and motivating each other. It's just good. And then obviously you're going to be racing each other as well.
It gets slightly competitive.
It does.
So, John, you've won a few competitions through the Firefighter Challenges. For you, as both an organizer but still a competitor, where does your heart lie in terms of winning versus taking part? You know, when you find yourself as a competitor, which one is the overarching driver for you?
There's no such thing as taking part, is there?
No.
That's it, baby. I mean, I know where my bottom lies, but
it's definitely the first step. Taking part, you've got to get out there, and
you have got to take part.
I think, from your fighting perspective, Rich, and for these Firefighter Challenges, that the sheer pressure you're under just to step out in front of all those people, those thousands of people watching,
it's scary
to step out there and perform, and in the casting their opinions on you, they're judging you from just standing there, and you're out there, and so that first step is massive.
Yeah,
I mean, you've got your own critiques in your head anyway, but for other people to be stood there watching you, it's that first step is massive.
It's always the same as well. It's not so much let yourself down. You don't want to let other people down that are there watching you.
Yeah.
I've always feared that. Yeah, when you're doing a competition, well, you mentioned you did boxing as well. Everyone's coming. My biggest fear was always I don't want to let them down.
Yeah.
If none of them was there, I've win or lose, no one would ever find out. I won't tell anybody. But when they're all there, that was always my biggest fear, everyone watching you.
Because they're coming exactly to see that as well, whereas you were still running, a school and all that stuff, still lots of other things going on in your world. When you organised last year for Watford, and you put myself and yourself competing against each other. Now I had different, as everybody does, I had different projects going on in my world, but within our little bubble of the fire service, because you and I we all work in the same service at the moment. There's a mini buzz around when it comes up, and this. Is you going to beat him? Is he going to beat her? This, and this. And then a few members of my family came down, and then it was mid-morning or something when you said to me, "Oh, we're running against each other," and I was like,
with you two though, I imagine it's very healthy. It's friendly competition, isn't it? It's what's pushing each other to. Yeah, I'm sure it is.
If I didn't beat John, we wouldn't be having the same conversation. I'm telling you that right now. No,
brush it under the carpet.
I did really, really enjoy it, and I certainly pushed myself hard at going against yourself, because when it's a competitor that's going to then travel away to a different area of the world, there's less skin in the game, because they can soon be forgotten.
But it's what pushes you, isn't it? It's what drives you.
The going back to Watford, I look back at that race and the people that we did beat. And I think there's a massive part of that race that you think, well, I thought if I know Pete's going to be grafting morning and night doing his training.
Oh yeah.
So he's going to be at it, and if I can push myself to be getting him either past him or if I can be near him, then we're both going to be up there. And I think we both pushed each other, and the fact that then I pushed you on a dummy at the end.
Absolutely.
We both got those extra seconds, and
there's a massive. We said about it before, a huge mutual respect between competitors that whether you win or lose against anybody it matters. But the fact of the matter is, you know where they're coming from. And what I mean by that is, you know what they're experiencing. You know what they've had to do to get to that level. Now, whether they trained at 4 a.m. or 10 p.m., it doesn't really matter. But you know, to be where they are, they had to have been putting that level in. And when you said it to me 3-4 years ago, something like that, when you said, it's great to have another person in the team that's really going to push me. Yeah. And I was exactly of the same ilk. I heard that, and there's a mutual respect there. But I think value of association is huge for me. I need to be around people who are either pushing themselves, who are striving further than me, who have achieved further than me, who are willing to step up and risk failure on a very regular basis. I find someone that sits inside their comfort zone difficult to be around, because whether they're even competing in the same sport as me, I'm not a fighter, and I don't believe I'll ever particularly have a passion to do any sort of striking game. But if Rich says to me, Pete, I'm thinking about getting back into the ring, or I'm thinking about promoting these events again, I will be massively trying to hold him accountable on a regular basis, as I would expect him to do exactly the same with my desires, with the things that I aspire to achieve. He doesn't have to compete against me, but the same with yourself. And I send you all the little messages. I'll send you a video of me training at stupid o'clock, and you'll hit it hard, or if you've got something else going on, there'll be that healthy nudge of, I know you're busy, John, but have you or have you not gone to the gym today? Well, X, Y, Z. Mate, I'm here. I'm a good friend of yours, but I'm holding you accountable. Have you done it or not? I'm not interested in your BS. Have you done it? And that's that healthy nudge.
It is healthy, and it goes back to, you asked me taking part or winning.
Yeah.
And I love to win for myself. Don't get me wrong, but my biggest thing was growing a Leicester team.
Yeah.
And the first few years, London won it, and Hertfordshire won it, and Hertfordshire come to Leicester and won on our patch. So I was mad keen last year that we took that back off them. So it weren't necessarily just about finding my own way of training to get my own personal victory. It was finding people like Pete that I knew would be grafting. And Jack Baker.
Let's mention Jack, because last year we did take the fittest service, didn't we? We took that big award back, and Jack played a massive role. Anybody that doesn't know him, incredible athlete, again, can apply himself to so many sports, from running to CrossFit to field hockey, very talented player. And he's just got a beautifully natural physique and ability that he can apply himself to so many different aspects. It's great to have him come in last year.
If I remember right as well, Jack fell over, didn't he?
Jack's fell over a few times.
So we'll bring that up. But
there's a couple of great videos
he was fast, and if he hadn't fell over, he would have been.
I think he'd have won it.
His time would have been ridiculous, wasn't it?
I think he would have actually won the entire competition last year. And again,
I bet he hates he fell over.
The fury inside you, Jack's just going to come back better and harder. Yeah. He'll be there next year, and he will be right at the top. Definitely. No
I might come back next year just to upset Jack, just for a laugh. I'll give it a week, and then I'll just do a little bit of training before I go.
It makes these events brilliant, because when before the event, I get everyone's names, and I look at them, and I look at the times that people have been putting in, and I will try and match up the best races and the best personalities for races as well. Because sometimes there are grudge matches.
You want big characters.
You've got the brothers.
The Budge brothers always going against each other.
Yeah.
Such beautiful boys they are.
So you've got these races, and that's what makes the event, because you've got these special bonds between people. It's a race, there's rivalry, and at the end there's a big hug.
So going back to the British Firefighter then, John, where's it going to be in 5 years, 10 years' time? What's the dream? The initial dream was to launch it.
Yeah.
You say it's going in the right direction, you're where you want to be with it, but moving forward, what's the bigger picture? Where do you want it to be?
Well, we're already getting there. So we've got regionals starting to take place. So Cheshire they did one last year, they're doing another one. What would have been this year? It's now going to be either later in the year or next year. Suffolk, Manchester, South Wales. There's a lot of satellite places now popping up that want to do these challenges. There's places that want to do them as an intra service competition, and the British ultimately in the future will be the pinnacle. So your best 4 or your best 8 from every service will attend the British, and then locally there will be regionals for everybody to enter at ground level. So it might be your first event, you go to a regional, and then if you get good and you enjoy it and you want to be participating at the British, at the nationals, then that's where you'll head.
So the nationals is going to be best of the best.
That's our aim, because ultimately we travel to Europe and America and places like that for these competitions, and we want the British team to be the best it can be. We want to be competing on a world stage. Now, if we can get...
And not just showing up.
Yeah, exactly. It's not
showing
just
up
social.
and people going, oh, wait, they're here.
Yeah.
Let's switch on.
So once we've got the regionals up and running, once we've got the best of the best from across the country turning up, and it has really started to come together.
Absolutely.
The talent that's coming together. Once you get them together, once you get them so interested in the sport, so curious in the sport, and so ingrained in it, they will start coming to Europe. They'll start coming to America, and we'll have this amazing team going forward to compete on that world.
And now you've done so many competitions. You've assisted with these regionals and stuff like that, and you've supported other members of different fire services planning their own. You've got a recognised template and you've got the resources. So if anybody's listening and they're thinking, oh man, I can't believe our service doesn't do this, what's the best way for them to get in touch? Because you won't necessarily run it for them, but you've got the resources, the template, and you can reassure them and put them in a position to hold their own regional perhaps. What's the best way for them to get in contact with the team?
I mean, we've got the website, so BritishFirefighterChallenge.co.uk, and we've also got the email address as well, so hello@BritishFirefighterChallenge.co.uk. So if anyone wants to contact us, then we will most certainly help you set up your own regional event. We can bring, like we've done with Cheshire, we chuck all our equipment into a van, and we'll turn up for a weekend and help set that up. It'll probably just be a one-day event for a regional. But once you get up and running, like I say, everyone's got, most stations have got a dummy. Most stations have got, or they all have, hose.
We've got a couple of dummies here.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah. So
won't mention no names there.
the equipment's there, and the infrastructure's growing as well. So this is a sport. It's recognised by UK Fire Sport now. There is a section, and it is endorsed by the National Fire Chief Council. It's endorsed by Firefit. So it is recognised in the UK now as an official sport, and it's in line with Firefit, with the idea that this course is basically our fireground fitness test. This is where the fire service is going, almost away from the treadmill. The treadmill is a basic test of your level of fitness that you can do an annual fitness test on, but as an entry into the fire service and as an alternative, then this is where
So if you want to embrace the life of the fire service, you want to embrace the fitness of the fire service, you want to raise your game, and whether you're a member of the fire service or not, if you want to support and reach out to a member of the team, get on board now. If you haven't heard of British Firefighter Challenge before,
get on it.
Where have you been? Basically, wake up before this thing explodes all over the place. So, John, we were talking about the competitions and some of the BFCs. We've got some footage from last year at Watford. Rich, you were there at Watford, weren't you?
Yeah, it was a good day. I remember it being very warm as well.
It's a crazy one. I mean, it was the warmest one we've had, because we had a few people pass out at one of the other competitions, didn't we, John?
I might have been one of those people, so we'll brush over that one.
We'll take a look back at this, John. We've spoke briefly about how different elements of the competition started. So for people that are listening in, we've got myself and John. We're going to run a playback and see how the different parts of the competition went. Give us your thoughts as we go, John. So we've got John on the left-hand side of this shot wearing his yellow fire kit, and me on the blue-hand side. We've got, what's the guy in the games commentating? Kev Aran. We'll hear Kev Aran here as well. Let's see what goes. So even from the word go there, John, we got to the first floor. We're still pretty much head and head. I think we actually get to the top at the same point, don't we?
Yeah. It's very close until you start with your long arms.
I thought you were going to blitz past me on this stair on here. No. This is where it goes.
Now, this is a lot of weight. How much weight are we hauling at the top of those stairs now?
So you were saying it's 15 kilos, so it's about 2.5 stone that we've got there. I hit the top quick. Down the first stairs, but I know you're faster on the way down. So even that's 2 floors down and you've already caught up.
Fast fit. I think we leave the tower about the same time again.
I seem to slow down on this when we hit the force entry. I'll take a step off the bottom here and I sort of mess about there. You were quick onto that
as well, isn't there?
Yeah, but again there, the comparison of hits, I think I hit 2 or 3 times less, but I'm lack of familiarity. I look the wrong way.
That's what I say about experience. The more competitions you do, you just get used to that pickup.
And again there, there's only 2 meters there. I drop, that drop and turns faster.
Yeah. Yeah, my legs.
My
legs kicking in there.
Legs kicking in on that one. Heads up. This, when you start off on the hose makeup, those first few turns really make the difference, don't they?
You can tell you've been practicing on that hose roll. That's where I was expecting to take you. I was expecting to go past you on the hose roll.
Yeah, no, I was quick on that one. Not as quick as some of the boys. Crikey, you see some of them.
The layout of this course was fantastic as well.
Really
how you
was.
got the audience on the left, the right, the front,
And the extinguishers
back.
that run down the middle really frames it nicely. Again,
That's where I'd made a couple of mistakes there.
struggling to get it into the box.
I tried to put the hose in the box and it got caught, and just those little half a seconds here, half a seconds there, they do make all the difference.
But I start slowing down here, and I think you stay fairly consistent. The run's okay there.
I think you give it a lot on the run. I think that's where
Yeah, I'm putting too much there. The lift is easy on here. The weight's not much for me, but I think you take longer steps than I do.
I'm only just coming into the shot there. You've got a big gap in there. It's good.
There's Mickey Joseph. Love
10,
that
15
guy.
meters.
And my biggest concern here, because I've seen it so many times, we talk about jackbait, is falling over.
Here you go. This is the exciting bit.
You just come into shot here. There he is.
There.
I'm like, Jesus, John's coming. No, John's still coming. Damn, it's coming.
Go on, John.
He's coming. Oh, the way. And I think at that moment I knew I'd done you, because I saw when the first person comes into shot on the right-hand side, you know you're near the end.
They do a fantastic job, don't they, at the end as well, stripping us down.
Yeah.
This was a moment I was specifically like, I need to get up. I'm standing up. I'm like, come on, John. Get up, John.
This is one of the differences as well. I literally put everything on the line there.
I think from...
my eyes rolled back. I literally gave it everything.
Yeah.
That's the first time I thought I was literally passing out. I've never passed out from exercise, but that moment...
You were... There was, yeah.
Borderline.
It was straight...
I love it. Watching this back.
Live.
Good times.
Absolutely loved it, mate. It's an incredible event. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for spending time with us. And we hope to compete against you many, many more times.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks for checking out the Firefighters Podcast this week. Make sure you check out the YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram pages, keeping yourself up to date with the latest podcast as it comes out. We'll see you guys soon. How to get firefighter fit in 30 days. Rich, who is this course for?
This course is for people who want to generally change their lives. We are going to educate, we're going to inspire, and we're going to motivate people. We're going to take people to a place where it's easy to understand. We're going to give them a step-by-step guide, and we're going to transform people's lives.
Absolutely. You heard it here first, folks. So if you have ever lost that confidence, if you don't feel brave enough to step back out onto that gym floor and you don't even want to think about attending that class, then this course is for you. This course is going to empower you with the skills, knowledge, and mental leverage to then lead yourself through easy to follow everyday workouts straight off the back of this 30-day course.
We promise to educate you, inspire, and motivate you. We're going to take you to a place where you're going to see amazing body transformation, both physically and mentally.
We've got every single corner covered. In this course, you will find your workouts, you'll find your warm-ups, you will find your stretching. You'll know how to track your own measurements so that as you improve, you can physically see the change in your body. This is pitched at the absolute beginner, so no matter if you've never stepped foot in the gym before, you can complete this course.